Hi everyone. I'm wanting to share something very special that happened this evening. Just before I do, I want to say up front that I know this may stir up some feelings of sadness initially for some people, and I want to ask you to stick with me through this particular video. After I finished in the pool this evening, I was talking to a dad in the facilities gym. He had brought his two sons there, and while I was speaking to the dad, one of the boys went to the bin where the hockey sticks are stored. He retrieved 3 of them and passed one to his brother and one for me, and the other was for himself. It didn't make any difference to him that I was in a wheelchair. To be honest with you, the groundwork for this was actually laid in the summer months. There's 2 boys who live on my street that are 10 years old. They taught me how to play ball hockey using my wheelchair, on my good days when I had the energy for this. If I hadn't had that time with them to learn and figure it out, tonight would not have happened. I would have had to say no to the child. It reminds me of how accepting children are of you. So why I say this may make some people sad is memories of doing this before you were in a wheelchair. I want to let you know that there are sports-based manual wheelchairs available. They're often referred for wheelchair basketball. They've been adapted for tennis, rugby, and then other sports such as downhill skiing have also been adapted depending on a person's disability. So for what it's worth, if you have the motivation, and you need to be honest with yourself, if you have the physical ability to engage in an adapted sport, I honestly encourage you to do so. Whether it's swimming, whether it's something like the hockey or any other sport, it's good for you to be around people when it's practical. And I understand that it's hard to plan in advance. I understand there's times where you need to be in bed resting. But that sense of teamwork leads to relationships in your lives. And it's a resource that you can draw on as you go through life and do life together. And I do mean together, because what you have as a gift or a tool is the ability to listen and have empathy for people who are struggling, because you know what it's like to struggle. And it's one of the gifts of being in a wheelchair. It takes a lot to work through it and be at peace with this, but it's something I want you to think about. I'm not telling you to go engage in a sport for the purpose of making relationships and getting help from this in the future. It's a byproduct of this. It's the natural extension. Like when friends evolve and relationships develop and you're just doing life when you're at the workplace, the same thing will happen in a sports team. So I want to ask you to think about this. I encourage you to live your life and focus on what your goals are. Sometimes the tomorrow isn't going to happen for you because you keep putting things off, and you miss out on the joys of life that are still available, that aren't dependent on a wheelchair. It's your willingness to engage in life, and perhaps it's going to mean facing some skeletons in the closet or past hurt, but there is the ability to live life and enjoy life irregardless of other challenges that you've experienced in life. And I encourage you to home in on this and really excel where it's possible. Thanks so much for this time that you've spent with me today. Bye for now.